All right, so say who you are.
I'm Jay Wynia.
Now I got to ask you, the J. Let me get right on the J there. So what is the J stand for? Is this like a Homer Simpson J means J?
No, it isn't.
Okay.
It's not like a Harry S. Truman or a Homer J. Simpson thing. It's I was born in a year when in my high school class I had about 105 students, and we had I think 6 Jasons and 5 Jennifers, and that leads you to basically spend most of your high school career going by your last name.
Yeah. Yep.
Which my name has enough.
I had 3 Jasons in a class of like 50, 60 people.
See, same percentage because you're about the same age I am. That's exactly what happens. Now the problem with that, with going by the last name thing, was that my name rhymes with too many things that aren't particularly flattering. And so I just reached a point where I was sick of being Jason, and I was sick of being Wynie or Weenie or any of the derogatory variations of my last name. And when I got to college and got a dorm room assignment, went to the door and they had the 2 names of us on the door. And I just had enough, and I took a marker out of my pocket and I scratched the last 4 letters off the end of my name, and that was the end of it.
J.
Now, I did have a precedent because one of the guys that was a couple years ahead of me in high school, his birth certificate just has the letter J on it, Homer J. Simpson style. So I sort of, when people started calling me that, I was like, I don't see any reason to put the 2 letters back on because I had a precedent for it just the letter.
So it technically stands for Jason.
It technically stands for Jason, but even my parents don't call me Jason anymore. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. All right, so technical stuff. Although that was actually quite technical answer. So what are you here to talk about today?
I'm here to talk about something that's a little bit more infrastructure oriented than a lot of the sessions that typically show up at code camps. Not because the other sessions are bad, but I think that there's people who are looking for guidance on some things other than just sitting inside their text editor. And one of those is project hosting. And I've watched a lot of projects where somebody like Javier will throw out a name of a project. Javier's sitting over there. And I'll go, ooh, this turbine thing sounds interesting. And I'll go and I'll look for it, and I'll hit a website like SourceForge, and you'll see that the last code release was 2006. And you go, Javier was really excited about this. There's no way he's talking about the same thing I'm seeing in front of me. So what's up with that? And then you'll notice a little news item that says, this project moved over to Codeplex. So you go over to Codeplex and you open the website and you go, okay, we're at like mid-2008, but we still are not current enough. And then you'll see, well, the binaries are still here, but the source code moved over to Google Code. And you go over to Google Code and you still see it, and then what it all turns out is everything moved to GitHub 6 months ago, right? And to me what that says is that most people are having a difficult time deciding between the SourceForge's Codeplex, GitHub, and even beyond that, I think in a lot of cases, particularly small consulting companies, people who are working at companies, consultants on site, in a lot of cases, even if you wanted to use one of those free versions, you can't put the client's code up on a free GitHub public account because it's under NDA and it's got all these things attached to it, and you've got internal projects and you've got things that you aren't quite sure you're going to open source. And the reality is that commodity web hosting, and for the purposes of today I'm going to talk about DreamHost as just a drop-in provider, and an afternoon, and you can have pretty much every feature that most of those sites have, and it's under your control on your own domain name. You have control over which users have access. You can revoke access easy, and so I'm going to kind of go over what tools are available, and we're going to target it at a fictional small little startup consulting company. So
okay, cool. Sounds different. All right.
It is kind of and I've been trying to I figure if I'm going to come, I want to bring something that is missing, rather than to give just another presentation like I've given inside companies and that kind of thing. So we'll see.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Jay.
You bet.